program, for the secondary program, we have the Lead Smart program, which is currently in Nigeria, Tanzania, and Gambia. And we also have the Climate Change Awareness program, which is in Nigeria. And for the post-secondary program, we have the YALS program, that's the Young Aspiring Leadership Scholars program, which focuses on leadership and research skills. And we also have the TYIL program, that's the Teens and Youth in Leadership, which talks about practical leadership skills. So I'll be sending a message in the chat very soon where we could check up what the program entails fully. So if you are still here with us, please do well to signify with probably a reaction. Thank you. We want to be as brief as possible today so we could finish on time. All right. So you could do well to check up what the program fully entails. So today is our postgraduate program where after the program there are other programs that have been organized, and this is one of them. And today we'll be talking about pursuing graduate studies in the US. Pursuing graduate studies in the US. We know a lot of us have asked questions. A lot of us have what we're looking forward to. So for today, we have a wonderful speaker with us. That's in person of Mr. Emmanuel Ojo. But with the way we're going to be running, I'm going to be telling us a brief biography about who Mr. Emmanuel Ojo is. Then after that, after the brief biography, he comes in, he addresses us. Then we ask some of the key questions that people have sent to us. Then after we do that, we'd open the room for question and answers. So if you have questions, do well to ask during the course of the program. Thank you. If you're still here with us, can we get some reactions? Thank you. All right. Thank you very much. So Mr. Emmanuel Ojo is a graduate student in agricultural and extension education at Virginia Tech, where he focuses on climate adaptation, rural resilience, agricultural innovation, and technology adoption in rural communities. He holds a bachelor's degree in agricultural and environmental engineering from the Federal University of Technology, Akure, Nigeria. Mr. Emmanuel has contributed to global development efforts through research works with organizations such as Catholic Relief Services and Corteva Agriscience. His work spans agricultural extension, systems thinking, climate smart farming, and rural development. He has presented at international conferences, including Association for International Agricultural and Extension Education, AIAEE, and was selected as a fellow of the 2025 Future Leaders Forum by the Association for International Agriculture and Rural Development, AIARD. He has served as the program coordinator, the graduate assistant for the peer academic coaching program at the Student Success Center at Virginia Tech, where he led program coordination, student staff training, data reporting, and event planning to support underrepresented and first-generation college students. He also contributed to curriculum development and provided mentorship to undergraduate students. Mr. Emmanuel is passionate about mentoring aspiring scholars, especially those from underrepresented and the global South communities, and actively contributes to research focused on inclusive technology, agricultural education, and sustainable development. And we are honored to have Mr. Emmanuel in our midst today. All right, thank you very much. Mr. Emmanuel, you have the floor now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Hayamide Kolawole. Hello everyone. Can you hear me? Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we
Yes, I
can.
can hear you from my hand, and I hope others can also hear you.
Okay, perfect. I think it's fine if my video is off. If there's need for me to turn it on, please let me know. I just was able to. Okay, perfect. Thank you, Salami Toba. Um, so um, thank you, Ayomide, for the introduction. I apologize for joining a little bit late. I I don't know, for some reasons I was engaged in the planning of an event and I don't know, it kind of took my time and ran into my schedule. So I sincerely apologize for that. So thank you so much, um, TYIL. Firstly, I want to thank my senior friend Israel for this opportunity, um, and also Ayomide for. I want to believe is the one chatting with me for his continuous update and feedbacks. Thank you so much. Um, so yeah, I'm going to share my screen now, and please kindly confirm as soon as you can see it. Can anyone see my screen?
Yes, I
Yes.
can.
Okay. So am I good to go now, Ayomide? Or are
Yes,
we
you.
waiting for people to join or whatever? Or can I go ahead?
Yes, you can go ahead, sir. You
Okay,
can go
thank you.
ahead.
Yes, thank you so much. Again, my name is Emmanuel. I recently completed my master's program here at Virginia Tech. Um, while I continue the presentation, I would put in some anecdotes so um, I can everything I'll be saying would resonate with everyone and of course applicable from wherever you are at this point in time, whether you're an undergrad or whether you're a recent graduate or whether you have graduated for like 5 years or whatever. I think I will try to ensure that whatever I say resonates with everybody and meets them wherever they are. And also, I want to give a caveat that this is a a presentation that gives an overview. I mean, a little bit more detailed at some point, but gives an overview of application to the US for graduate program. Because I'm assuming you're the one told me that the slide is going to be shared with other people. I when I get to those slides, I will mention it. I hyperlinked some resources because I would have wanted to go into details on those ones if this were to be like a proper 2 hours, 1 hour, 2 hours, extensive workshop. So those resources are hyperlinked into this slide because he mentioned that I'm going to be sharing this slide with everyone. So yes, today we'll be talking about basically different universities in the US. Some may know, some may not know. So I'll basically talk about that a little bit. And this is helpful because you would know where exactly are you applying to. And I think this is very fundamental um, in all of your application process and also how to search for information on your desired university. This is one of the major parts I'll be talking about extensively because I think that so far, most of us that are here already in the US and, my senior colleagues, like the likes of Israel and even people that came after me, I've always asked questions about, when people are in Nigeria and they are reaching out to them. And a good number of them have wondered how that a lot of people ask questions that we think are obvious and that we think should be able to, by a simple Google search, you should be able to find. So on that topic, I kind of broke it down a little bit into places where you can get information that you need. And also how to source for scholarships. And I hope to also break this down because a lot of time people, when you are coming from Nigeria, you say, oh, I'm looking for scholarship to go to the US. You can say it and you can be forgiven because you are not here yet. But those of us that are here, we don't directly call it that. There's something we call it, and understanding this will help you to know how to really seek for this opportunity. So I know about Erasmus Mundus scholarship and every other scholarship. Those ones are like scholarship. But here, we have a different nomenclature for that, and then also opportunities for US international students, balancing learning with earning and conclusion. I wasn't sure of how far I should go, but I think the first four are like the major points. And then I was also told there'll be room for questions, and I would appreciate that because it gives me room to provide tailored responses to unique experiences of everyone. So please follow me, and if you have questions along the way, you can just write them down. If there's anything that is unclear, please write them down. Thank you. So the first thing about the different universities in the US, this is um, a, a lot of text, so I won't be reading through. I'll just be explaining briefly. So there are different universities in the US, and in fact, some of us in the US are not aware of this. So I think it's good that you all are knowing this at this point, that we have universities that are research universities, we have universities that are liberal arts colleges, we have community colleges, and we have technical institutions. So technical institutions can be likened to, I think we have technical institutions also. And by the way, I don't want to assume everyone on this call is a Nigerian because I was about to mention Nigeria. So um, forgive me if you are not, but I'll try to be as open-ended as I can. Um, Okay, so starting from the last one, technical institutes, like we have technical colleges also in Nigeria, like vocational colleges, more focused on hands-on in engineering, computer science, and applied sciences. And also we have community colleges. Community colleges are places where a lot of people go to before they come to main universities. So they are just yeah, you can get an associate because there are jobs here in the US where you don't even need a bachelor's degree, just an associate degree for 2 years and you're good. So sometimes people go to community colleges for 2 years and then get the associate degree and go get a job, or some people get this associate do this 2 years in the community college and then move to major universities. It's like a litmus test for them to see how far they can do well academically, and then they of course can transfer credits to universities, major universities. There are also liberal arts colleges who offer broad-based education, also focused on undergraduate studies in humanities and other areas. But specifically, my emphasis going forward would be on research universities. So this particular point is for you to know that while you are trying to search for universities, you are looking out for research universities. So these ones focus heavily on research opportunities, graduate programs, and often have high research funding. I don't know, I should have added Virginia Tech there, but those are the examples of schools. So basically, keep your spotlight on research universities, and every other thing I say would be connected to it. So there, apart from that category of universities, this one will resonate with a good number of us here because in Nigeria we also have public and private universities. So this is an example. So there are public universities here in the US, and basically they are government funded, whether state government or federal government funded. Their in-state tuition is pretty much affordable, and they I would be careful not to say they have more money, but I would say that most people who transit, and these are the applicable points for those who are for everyone on the call. So these universities are the places that most anecdotally, I don't have the data for that, but based on experience, these are the places that a lot of people who live in Nigeria would come to, majorly public universities. So when you're trying to channel your energy towards application, try to focus on public universities. They have more money, they more research opportunities, I should say, and especially for graduate programs. And of course, there are private universities here who are funded through tuition, private donations, and endowments. So for someone coming from Africa, for international students, coming to the US, you want to channel your energy towards a public university. Not to say there are no private institutions that offer what you want or what you need, but if you are, again, like I said, anecdotally, a lot of people focus on private universities. There's funding, public universities, I meant to say there's funding and, more people are there, right? So it's just the way it is. But again, I should give a caveat that there are Nigerians also in the US who are, at least I've heard of one or two. I think I know one who is in a private university, and it's they are doing fine, I'm sure. So yes. And then the third category I want to talk about is based on research levels. I know in Canada they have what they call U15, and those are the top most funded universities in Canada. For the US, this category is subdivided into research levels. We have R1, R2. I know there's R3, but for this presentation, I don't think any of us want to go to R3, so I'll focus on R1 and R2. So R2 are doctoral universities, are also called doctoral universities, or very high research activity. So if you look at the trajectory of what I've been talking about, I first listed out the types of institution there are, and I also brought you to firstly, I spoke about research institutions, and then I brought you to the fact that they are private and public institutions, universities. And now I'm telling you that if you found a research university, and even if it's a public university, you still want to check if it is R1 or R2. Do you get the idea now? So if you found, let's tilt it a little bit. If you found a private university, or let's say you find a research university, like I said from the first section, and then you found a private university, you want to check if it's a R1 or R2. So technically, R1s have a lot of more money, I should say, more research activity. So more research activity and more money. Again, one of the pros is that strong research opportunities, facilities, opportunities to work with renowned faculty, and access to significant funding. And one thing you must know, I think I remember, is it 2020 or 2021 when my department in FUTA invited some guys who have also traveled, and one of our lecturers that also traveled at the time told us, go for where the money is, go for the bag, right? So you want to, I'm intentionally doing this because I don't want you to just go online and find maybe one, let me use my name for example, Emmanuel O University, and because you think it's a US university, you think it's all US universities are the same. No, they are not the same. So this explanation is going to be helpful for you to know what exactly you are looking for. So Virginia Tech, where I graduated from, is a R1 institution. So there's a lot more research funding compared to other universities. I mean, the likes of Harvard, MIT, Stanford, UC Berkeley are also top. So among the hard ones, there are also levels, but that's not the point of this conversation. The next is the R2 institutions. They are also doctoral universities, and they have high research activities. They have, yes, they also have significant research. They do research there also. Growing research opportunities often offer a good balance between teaching and research. So basically, just in your head, while you are searching for schools and where you want to go to, you already know that they are R1 institutions. It's not going to be new to you that they are R1, and R is just research one, research R2, research two. Based on, like, I could remember those days when I was trying to apply. Someone advised that you look for all categories of universities, basically. So like what I told you from the beginning, I guess look for research universities and look for maybe other universities. And also that's a category. The second category, look for private and public universities. And in that category, look for um um what is it called? Private R1 and R2. So there's a way you can, use Excel to designate all of those things and color code each one. So the idea behind what this person said at the time was so that you know how strong your application document is, right? So you may think for R1 is not strong enough, still apply there. You may think for R2 it's good enough, still apply there. And you may think for R3 you are very good, still apply there, right? So yeah, that's why it's important that we talk about this. So next, I'm going to be talking to you about, and this next section is very important, and I'll be glad if every one of you can pay close attention to it, because it speaks to what I've been talking to people about before now, and I have experienced also. Personally, I think for the most part, my Google search is very close to me. I find it awkward when someone um says a new word that I've not heard before. So if you ever say a new word around me and I've not heard it, I'm going to pick my phone and search what it means. And one way or the other, I add it to my vocabulary. Why am I saying that? I'm saying that because many of us sometimes don't have the culture of searching things out ourselves. We always sometimes want to be spoon-fed, which especially if you're expecting that from someone who is already outside of Nigeria. The schedules are different, the time zones, everything. So many things are different, right? So it's kind of hard to really help you as much as they want to. I remember when I was in Nigeria and I sometimes reach out to people and, I'm expecting that very prompt response, especially at the beginning. And I'm like, why are these people doing this until I got here? And, I fell for the same thing and people are like, you didn't reply my message for so long. I just kind of understood. So yes, that's why this section is very important. So the first thing is basically how to search for information from universities. This is the only section that will seem like a workshop and where I might spend what's the time? Okay, I mean more time than usual, but um um please kindly let me know when it's like maybe 10 minutes to the end of my time. Um, so yes, the first thing is how to search for universities. Number one is on the university website. Now, when you want to go to a school where you want to, whatever you want to do, okay, for example, after this webinar, you feel like, okay, I want to go to the US. I want to study from wherever you are in the world. I want to travel to do a graduate program. I'm being in your shoe now, void of knowledge. There are many things you can do, and that's what I'm going to be covering in this section. The first is basically go to, if you found the university, right, go to that university website. When you go to the university website, this website are built differently, right? So you can go and find maybe graduate program and then academics, and then you see graduate departments. There you can find departments. You can also search for professors who are in that department when you go to the university website. So basically, when you navigate to the website, go to again academics. It will always be there. There'll be academics. There'll be admission. Go there, search for academics. Then go to graduate programs. If you know the program you are looking for, go to there. You can look for that. By that you've gotten to the department. You can also look at professors. If you know your area of research interest, look out for those professors. You can also, the sciences, the core sciences, the life sciences, the social sciences, and humanities. Some have labs, some don't have labs. So for those that have labs, you would see some research labs. Keep clicking, basically, right? As long as you're on the university website, you'll see laboratories, you'll be able to see their research areas, the things they are doing currently. You will also see current graduate students. And I'll repeat this across this section because I think it's very important. There's a mantra we usually say in Nigeria that Nigerians are everywhere. And anywhere you go to and you don't, oh, sorry, this is not just for Nigerians. Okay, sorry. So that sorry for any other person, but it's just a mantra. It's not always right, right? I mean, I've been somewhere in the US where I didn't see any Nigerians. So yeah. So search for current graduate students. So wherever you are from, search for graduate student on that same website. This was one thing I did, but I don't want to talk about that here. Also, you can search for event and info sessions. For example, my own department here at Virginia Tech does info sessions, and at the info session, they give application fee waivers. For those who don't know what application fee waiver is, for every application you submit to the US, you would pay an application fee. So an application fee waiver is a code, a unique code that is given to you so you don't pay that application fee, basically. So this is one way you should take note of, that you can search for information from universities. Another thing is on LinkedIn, and I'm going to talk about Israel here because I found Israel on LinkedIn. There were other people I found through the first means, which is through the website, by simply getting their emails and reaching out to them, and conversation went on from there. But LinkedIn is also a very important resource. So if you have a LinkedIn account, can you please drop it in it? Just drop I do in the chat box, and let me see the number of people who have a LinkedIn account. I guess the leadership can subsequently organize a LinkedIn optimization class for those who want to do LinkedIn optimization to suit their. I learned it and I did it for people, I think, way back in 2019, 2020. But I'm sure there are people who are perfect. I see that a lot of people do have a LinkedIn page, so you can search for information. I met Israel on LinkedIn, and from there the conversation went on. He basically was resourceful in how I got the funding that got me to the US. So honestly, you don't know what, if you do have a LinkedIn account, I should scold you for still being in Nigeria, oh sorry, wherever you are, because I think you should be here by now. So it's a tool that you have in your hands. You can search for professors on LinkedIn. Just search for example, nursing, professors of nursing in the US. Keyword, professor nursing US. It's going to bring a lot of people. You can search for current graduate student. Like I said, met Israel on LinkedIn. Just search for Virginia Tech, agricultural leadership, community education, Nigerian. Whatever keywords you want to put, just put it there. It's going to bring out, Nigerians who are doing that work you're interested in the US. And also, I don't know if some of you know how to use LinkedIn very well. There's a way you can select location, timeline, whatever. Also, LinkedIn groups. I added this because personally I had an experience with this, and it even helped me when I went for my visa interview. When the visa officer asked me, "How did you know about this school?" I said, I heard about Virginia Tech from a LinkedIn group I joined called Journal of Agricultural Education and Extension. And basically, that sounded perfect to the person. So go, if you know your field, you know what you studied, go on LinkedIn. If you have multiple devices, even now that I'm talking, go on LinkedIn, search um, professor, search for graduate students, search for LinkedIn groups. You can even go online and just search for journals in, let's say, you're interested in communication, journals in, whatever area you're interested in. When you see those journals, they can be groups, right? They can be journal pages that you can follow. So when you follow it, you'll be able to go to the members of those group, and then you'll be able to see the people, and then you will see people who are professors in those groups. This is how find people who are professors who are actively working, publishing. A lot of people will say, "Oh, I recently published um a manuscript titled this, and they'll share it to those journals, or those journals themselves will publish it to say, oh, there's a current journal that was just released, that was just started recently in our field, Journal of Advancement in Agriculture. Yes. And I've been checking it. Sometimes I just check, okay, I see the people who are submitting recent work in that field, and for that's an example. Also, international associations and organizations, are also, a lot of them are on LinkedIn. For example, I am a member of the Society for International Development in the US. I think I also found it on LinkedIn. And interestingly, I was at the dinner last year at Washington, D.C. And we were supposed to have a career fair this year. in February, on the 13th of February, before everything in the sector went south. But there are many organizations for those in plant pathology, in plant science. There's nothing, many of us, when we go here, we figure that many of these fields that we think are, my first degree was in agriculture and environmental engineering. And, engineering, we think we are the best things after sliced bread. And we look down on people who studied forestry and wood technology, and people who studied fisheries, people who studied crop science, people who studied, some other courses that we think are not as relevant as such in Nigeria. Interestingly, on getting here, you see that a lot of money is being pumped into those research areas here in the US. And every experience you have from Nigeria is very unique and, presents you as a very solid candidate. So yeah, another thing I know a lot of people do not do, so a lot of people don't know this, is to basically just search for jobs. When you go, you might be in the Nigeria and search for jobs, and then you can change the location, US. So I'll get back to what I wrote in GAGT and GRE subsequently. Or you can search for job graduate assistant, graduate teaching assistant from Nigeria. You'll see US location, and they will tell you is expected to be a student, right? And you reach out to them that you are fit for this role, and from there you can apply for admission. I don't know how far I should go into anecdotes, but one of the persons that Israel supported me to get here, and then I supported one other person, and the person did not even have admission at the time, but there was a job opening, like a GA job opening, and she applied. And when they applied, they got it, and immediately there's funding. Almost every professor would they would say they don't want to take you basically because of funding, but immediately there's money to support your education. I think they are usually happy to take in more students. Another thing I know a lot of people from Nigeria don't explore. When I was in Futa, I had a ResearchGate profile, but I never used it for. Okay, I used it to download papers, but I wasn't serious with it, right? So Google Scholar or ResearchGate, for those that are familiar with ResearchGate, go on research on Google Scholar and type in keywords your area of interest. It can be, again, plant pathology, or for those who are in plant and are specific on one kind of breed, one kind of hybrid, or whatever. Just search for that thing on Google Scholar. In fact, it has been my friend in recent times, and I've really been surprised about so many things. Like I said, this is not a workshop, so I won't be able to share screen and show you in details how I am doing those things. But for example, if you open a Google Scholar account and you put four areas of interest, like for example, Israel's area of interest is leadership. So I'm assuming you will have leadership development, maybe youths in leadership. If you on that Google Scholar account, if he clicks on that leadership development on his own account, it's going to show you the top scholars in leadership development. I found this recently. I don't know if it's a popular knowledge, but for me, I guess my search made me find it. So if you have a Google Scholar account and you have those four things, you can click on, let's say, mathematical modeling. Yes, when you click on it, it's going to show you the top professors. For example, in economics, it's going to show you top professors in economics, people who are currently highest citations, basically. You may not want to go for the top citations, but it gives you an avenue to know what people are doing currently and the major stakeholders in the field. Search for keywords, your area of interest, search for articles in your area of interest. And the last thing is very simple. And I want to humbly ask that all of the previous thing I have said are important, but then they are not as important as this. If you have any question, and I remember when I got here newly, I'm a kind of person that asks a lot of questions, and I guess I had to convert that asking my question from people to asking my phone or asking the search engine on my phone, basically, because at the time of orientation and trying to ask questions on how to go around and navigate things and places on campus, I asked the graduate coordinator at the time, oh, sorry, where can I, register for my course? So I think I asked the question, and she was like, oh, you just have to go online, Emmanuel, Google, is your friend. I was like, that sounded like I don't know. I don't know. So it sounded awkward to me, right? Like, not as though I don't know Google, but it's also one of the thinkings here that you ask less question if you make use of the resources at your beck and call or at your disposal. So you want to know, for example, University of Florida, if you go on the website and you search for, I've done this, I am saying this because I've done it for many times, and again, I may not be totally accurate, but if you search for my department, AEC, and you just go through the website and you search for, go to the department webpage. In fact, you may not easily find the department webpage. And if you find the department webpage, before you see the professors there, I don't know how it is built, but what I just do is University of Florida AEC faculty, and it brings all of them. So, for example, you want to go to University of Nebraska Lincoln in, whatever program in the department, maybe science education or interdisciplinary or pharmacognosy or whatever. Just type whatever UNL faculty um, in this program. It's going to bring everything. It's going to bring you the link. So make use of Google and it's going to help you. Again, I would have wanted to go in depth, but this again is not a workshop. So it's just, I want to believe it's a first phase to bring everyone into the awareness of what they need and what they need to know for the program. And also, yes, so when it comes to application requirement, this is very important. And for those who would receive the slide after this, I hyperlink the resource here that I want to believe has helped thousands of, there's no one that has spoken to me about graduate school opportunities that I have not sent this to. So if you get this slide, please click on this video. We will not be talking extensively about the statement of purpose or purpose statement documents, but you see this video hyperlinked in the yellow box or almost yellow box is a very strong resource. It's a workshop, and you know what I mean by workshop when you watch the video. It's an example of a step-by-step guide into writing your own statement of purpose, right? I usually advise people to watch it once through without writing anything. Ensure after the first time, ensure you have your research interest, know what you want to do, and then watch it again. I can assure you, if you watch it the second time, you would write a full statement of purpose. It may not be perfect, right? May not be the best you want, but I'm certain you will be surprised. And I should make reference to the person. His name is now a doctor, Dr. Oludayo Shokunbi, Oludiwon. Those that are on Twitter would know him. He's one of the great guys that helped. I think he helped me review my SOP. I think he reviewed one of my documents. I can't remember. So yes, so for admission requirements, academic requirements, standardized test, TOEFL, GRE, SAT. Basically, one size does not fit all with respect to this. Sometimes you don't have to write any of this. Sometimes you do have to write it. In fact, some people have advised that people should write if they have the financial capacity and the mental capacity to write. So if you have all of these capacities, and you can write. But I think English proficiency for most schools in the US is not required, so you may not have to. You don't even have to. If you think, I think for most schools, Olumuyiwa Igbalajobi at some point, I don't know if he still does that, was fighting for schools to waive it for Nigerians because we are we are an English speaking country. So that's that. Application document. So I know Nigeria education system isn't the best. I went to FUTA. My transcript came out very easy. If there's any Futarian in this meeting, please just great Futarian, you know how to respond in the chat box. Please respond. And I knew this when I went for my NYSC, that a lot of schools find it hard to get their certificates. They find it hard to get their transcripts. I left FUTA with my certificate. I don't know what a statement of result looks like because I never had one. I went for NYSC with my certificate. So FUTA gives you a certificate before you leave. Your transcript is online. You can download it as many times as possible. So your transcript, although I know other schools, even the first and the best and many other schools, have some challenges with getting their transcript. So if you know, for example, if you're an undergrad, still in undergrad, I want to believe a good number of people here are undergrads. And again, I should mention that I think from your 400 level, when you go for IT, you can start applying to the US. So for example, FUTA may not give you full transcript, and I'm sure other schools are represented. So, but the way FUTA does, I'm saying FUTA because I went to FUTA and I have that experience. There is a way you can get your result for every semester, right? So if you want to apply from your 400 level, it's possible to apply. I should emphasize that. If you want to apply from your 400 level, just get those results from each semester and use, is it I love PDF or whatever document that combines PDF or CAM scanner and merge everything together and just use it as your transcript. It works perfectly. So that's that for transcript. Don't get delayed if your transcript is delaying. Combine all your results and send it. It's going to work. You know, letter of recommendations. Also, yes, speak to people. Have good relationship with your professors. I did have with my graduate, no, my project coordinator at the time. She helped me. I also had another professor in FUTA at the time who was really open-minded and I guess was happy that students are moving forward. I said that because I know there are some professors that, they are high and mighty and, it's even hard to talk to them. So letter of recommendations are very important. I should say this section that all of these things I'm talking about are extremely important. And again, like I said, it's not a workshop to like go in details of how these things can be designed or written, but they are very important. For example, a lot of Nigerian professors, and I'm saying this, okay, again, not all, I want to assume not everyone here, because I know TYIL is not Nigerian organization. It's a global organization, so I'm assuming there are multiple countries represented here. But whether or not it applies across board, I want to believe letter of recommendation, you can, you should reach out to professors, but for anecdotally, again, based on stories and experiences, and based on my own experience, the professors, I preempted actually that I need a letter of recommendation. I told them like months before. And when it was like a month to, I said, oh, I need this letter of recommendation next month. That however, I know that your schedule is pretty much busy at this time, and I am able to provide a draft. This exact are my exact words in my email. And for those that have caught it, it's going to help you um so much so that I know you may be pretty busy, with different things in academics. I am able to provide a draft and then of course submit to you for you to rewrite and recalibrate or rejig however you want to do it and then submit to for me basically. So the two professors I read out to that wrote for me accepted that because they were actually busy. And of course, that's another conversation on how to write a recommendation letter. So also a statement of purpose, right? Go through the department website that you want to apply to. They have different things that they want to be in their statement of purpose. I applied to a school and my statement of purpose was 4 or 5 pages. And now because I wanted to use that statement of purpose, I wanted to use it for another school. And I saw that all the things I wrote then that was 4 pages didn't make sense to me again because now I need to streamline it to 2 pages. So a statement of purpose, they will write it on the website what they want to be in the statement of purpose. So that's very important. And then of course your resume and your CV. Of course on the website also some schools I should say write it on their website what they want to be in the resume or their CV I should say. So basically it goes from your education, certifications, any certification you have taken, relevant certifications that you have taken, um, your work and research experiences, um, skills, awards, publications, um, what else? Yeah, those are the major things. I think, again, one size does not fit all. Go to the website and see what is required of you. And then financial documents, proof of funds, bank statement. I added this, but when I was, doing this line, I was like, why am I putting this? But then I just had to put it because sometimes it is needed. And I don't think I want to go into the weeds of that. But yes, please, if you have questions, just take note of them. And oh, I'm seeing someone say transcript is now paid. I don't know if that's footer. I'll be heartbroken if that's footer. Um, 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 the next slide. So I'm saying this specifically, and I think I have some level of authority on this because I had a first degree. Almost someone is saying for footer, Jesus. Oh gosh. Okay. I don't know if it's advancing or it's retrogressing. Anyways, so how to identify your research interest and choose a course of study. Now, this is very important and personal to me, and I want this is very personal to me and to everyone, especially Nigerians who are on the call, who are doing something, who study something they did not really want to study, or who have studied something and they think they want to pivot into something else. I think this is something you should take note of. Firstly, I'll preempt this by saying that for example, in my own undergraduate program, I studied agricultural and environmental engineering, and the program is divided into four research areas. Number one is farm power and machinery. Number two is soil and water engineering. Number three is farm structures. And number four is food engineering. So I think there's an AGE guy on the call. Maybe I'm correct. Maybe things have changed. You can correct me, please. I'm open to that. So, for example, a Nigerian that is in Nigeria and wants to, please permit me for using Nigeria. I'm a Nigerian. That's where my experience is from. That want to come to the US will be looking for agricultural engineering in USA. No, that's because you don't have enough knowledge. So I'm going to tell you now that I have about 4 or 5 colleagues from my same program who are in the US. One of them is studying industrial and systems engineering. One of them is studying mechanical engineering. One of them is studying materials engineering. And one of them is studying biosystems engineering. I don't think any of them is studying any. Okay, I think the one in Purdue has agricultural and biosystems engineering. So you see now. So you must understand where you are coming from. No, I'm not even using this slide. You must understand where you are coming from, and for that's it in engineering. I'm sure it's like that. For example, for people in, let's say, plant science now, or FUTA has what we call crop. Is it CPS or CSP? Crop science and pest management or something. So in FUTA, they may have taught you everything together, but or in Nigeria, they may have taught you. But when you are coming to the US, you see one of those crops is like a whole lab here in the US. One of those pests is like a full lab. A full lab is dedicated to it. So just like food engineering that I mentioned now, there are professors of food engineering. There are professors of farm power machinery. Even in that farm power machinery, there are still people who are subdivided into different things. So this slide is now I can come back to this slide. So first thing is for you to identify your research interests, you must know what exactly you are interested in. What are you passionate about? What topics excites you the most, in your field of study, real world problems, you must connect it to reality, an academic project you have enjoyed. Because sometimes, again, I should say that most people who come from Nigeria or who come internationally to the US are come for a PhD program. I came for a master's program because my program doesn't accept people do a PhD directly. Um, Many other persons in core sciences and engineering directly come for PhD program because it is not a requirement, basically. So, but for whatever it is that you are going to be doing, ensure it's something you are interested in. That is very important, something you are passionate about, something you have maybe done before, and you think, oh, I like this. For example, my my undergraduate project is on mathematical modeling of ackee apple seed under oven and sun drying. um for example, if I'd done that and I wanted to, like, maybe my interest for, by proximity, you are assigned to, you don't decide who you are assigned to for project. I don't know if it's like that across board, but you don't decide who you are assigned to. So maybe you're interested in soil and water at the end. So you can probably just pivot at any point after your first degree, start, doing different things around that area. Um, so I'll make more sense about this particular section as I go on. So again, like I said earlier, explore different areas within your field. Um, I'm sure every university, at least in Nigeria, have what they call inaugural lectures. I remember when I was applying, I just checked all the inaugural lectures that FUTA had done, my department had done when I was an undergrad. It was in my resume, in my CV actually, because I attended everything. In fact, it's compulsory for all of us to attend. So that's one thing. So I said that because seminars, conferences, and webinars are very important. Many of the things that we think are not like so important to you that you just do casually, maybe volunteering, maybe even community, project that you engage in, mean a lot here, right? So, but currently I'm talking about how you actually identify your research interest and what you want to study. So, like I said about my department, we have different areas. My colleagues are here doing different things, right? Different areas, in engineering, industrial systems, biosystems, mechanical, materials engineering. So don't just say, "Oh, I studied communication in Nigeria."
Nice to meet you.
Okay. So don't say, "Oh, I studied communication in Nigeria and then I want to do communication in the US." A lot of people who did communication are in public policy, right? Because it's really not about the name of the course. It is to an extent, but it's much more about the research and the skill that you are bringing. So you can bring your communication skill into public policy. I have a senior friend who was a lawyer in Nigeria and came here to study um, public policy. We have people. For example, my first degree was in agricultural engineering. I came for a master's degree in agricultural leadership and community education. So you must firstly set your mind that it's okay to like not directly do what you are doing for your undergraduate thesis, right? But also I should put a caveat that I usually strongly advise that anything you want to do should at least be related to your undergraduate degree. So don't get it twisted. For example, I did agricultural engineering in my undergrad. It has different research areas, right? My master's, my undergraduate project was in um, food engineering. So I could have said, okay, now that I have a bachelor's degree in AGE, but I think I like soil and water. I think I like soil and water. I can apply here for soil and water, for civil engineering or whatever materials. Like my guy studying materials engineering. Some of you who are on LinkedIn will know him. John Eshaw is one of the hot boys on LinkedIn now. We studied agricultural engineering together, and he's doing materials engineering. Um, Immediately he graduated, he started working in a civil engineering firm, just basically by the simple understanding, knowledge he had, and kind of published in the area. Let me not get distracted by that. So yes, also talk to faculty and industry professionals. I know that our Nigerian professors, not all of them are very approachable, but as much as you can, when you see those who are calm enough, talk to them that, oh, you have plans to, go abroad to study, to learn more, and you are thinking about areas of interest that you can apply to and all of those things. Some of them know a lot. Some of them, the reason why they are not doing those things is because of funding, because of money. So some of them will tell you, do this, or this is what they are doing. Some of them are publishing and know where things, the current research areas that is being explored globally, and also read research papers. I don't want to believe there's anyone on this call who does not like to read. I know I usually call myself a philomath, but I think Israel is still my boss, and I want to believe by virtue of leadership and transfer, everyone who is part of the TYIL organization loves to read. So if you love to read, you should also be able to read papers in your area of interest. By the time you read, the funny thing is that you can just pick a paper, maybe you even pick the interest in the author of the paper, and you say, oh, I want to reach out to this professor that wrote this manuscript. You'll be surprised by the time you get to the middle of the manuscript, you would I think someone is toying with a slide. um by the time you get to the middle of the manuscript, you'll be surprised that you see one of the person that was cited that is even more relevant to what you are looking for. So, and this is one thing I know Esho usually emphasize on, which is that a lot of people don't read. What you don't read, you don't find. You don't know, basically. So if you read and you dig for knowledge, you will find things, right? So I know don't find what you're not supposed to find, right? But in this context of research papers, read a lot of research papers as much as you can, right? And I just thought now that I didn't mention cold emails in this PowerPoint at all. So at the point I'm going to talk about that. And then the third thing And with respect to, I also identify your research interest, is to align your research interest with your career goals. And this is very important because when you start writing your SOP, you must be able to say what you want to do at the end with your degree, right? Because the rationale of this is that when professors or departments are trying to admit or to go through the admission process, they want to right, they want to employ who has the capacity to, firstly, who has the capacity to get into the program, right? So see that with three phases. You have the requirement to get into the program, one. Secondly, they want to get people who can and this, what I'm saying now, will help you when you want to write your recommendation letter. When when your professors want to write your recommendation letters for you. So secondly, how can you thrive in the program? So you talk about the skills that you have that you think make you required to get in, the skills that will make you to thrive in the program. And you don't just talk about skills. You talk about examples of how that has worked. And thirdly, your career goals, which is where this comes in. So you want to talk about you want to know what really interests you at the long run. Because right now I was talking to someone recently that, so if I do a PhD in something, that means that's what I will have to do. I become a, master of that. And, I guess the way my soul is wired, I can wake up tomorrow morning and say I want to go into journalism and leave agriculture alone. But so basically you want to ensure that whatever you are doing is something you are passionate about and something you want to do, you love to do. So yes, that's very important. Um, I have just very few more slides, so let me just run through it. Um, and then hopefully I remember to talk about cold emails. So this is not as important because I think for those who are still in Nigeria, it may be helpful for you. And even when you get here, you may never talk to me one on one, but maybe one thing here might just be helpful for you, which is that on campus, oh yeah, and this is a good place to talk about what you call scholarship from Nigeria. So, and this is also very, please listen. In Nigeria, we call everything is scholarship. America scholarship, Canada scholarship. But yeah, it's not part of our lingo. You will hear us call things like assistantships, um, assistantships generally. So in assistantship, look at assistantship as if you want to draw an organogram or organigram. Um, so then under assistantship, you can break it down into three parts. We have research assistantships, which is what I think a good number of people do. So that simply means that a professor is doing a research or someone is doing a research and they need people to assist them in that research, basically. So that's your role. And that research assistantship is what you call scholarship because the research assistantship is going to pay your tuition and it's going to pay you monthly. Some people now call what we get monthly NYC alawi. So it's going to pay you monthly. And then the middle line would be a teaching assistant. So TAs are people who, for example, a lot of people in chemistry. If you're in chemistry here, when you get to I want to expect you to be in the US next year. And I'm not saying that to say other people cannot be here, right? But I'm saying that there are more opportunities in that field, right? So for a lot of chemistry people get TAs because a lot of universities have Chem 105.6 or something that they teach, and a lot it's like I think it's a university course, especially for the sciences. So you come in as a TA for that, and basically what you are doing, a TA simply means you are teaching undergrads. Don't think you don't know anything. I can assure you, you do. That thing you know that you think is not enough is more than enough until you get to the right environment. So TA, if you are a TA, you would also your tuition will be paid, and you will get monthly stipend, which is what you call scholarship. Also, we have administrative assistants. Those ones are simply called GAs. No need of administrative, they just call it GA. So basically, there are other organizations on campus that are doing other things apart from academics. They are called non-academic organizations, and that was the one where I worked in my for my assistantships. For an example of one is where I worked. So basically, they are administrative jobs. So just maybe coordinate some student programs or different things. across campus, and your tuition is paid, and you're also paid a stipend. So you can do all of those things. That is what you can do as a student on campus. An off-campus job, I had an internship with Corteva in the summer of 2024, and that was where I said I went to and I didn't see any Nigerian at Lancaster in Pennsylvania. So there are work options off campus in the summer period, what we call it CPT and OPT. This is not as important. And also for time management and financial management. I hyperlinked something there for those who are interested in getting to know more. So sourcing for scholarships, well, I already spoke about this. So basically, oh yeah, I was supposed to talk about it here. So basically, this is what we call scholarships. GRA, GTA, and GAs. So as you are in Nigeria, know that you're looking for a research assistantship position or a teaching assistantship position or an administrative assistantship position. And I think this call is very important because a lot of people I spoke to, Israel also has this very unique experience like myself, where um, I came in and I did not have a RA or TA. And when I spoke, he knows about it, but I figured that it's not a common knowledge. Most people I hear are just RAs or TAs. So I think it's a lot more internal, but because I had him in the system, I was able to get to know about it. So their research assistantship and teaching assistant, you can see those ones on the department's website, but you see those graduate assistantship position, you may not see them, right? But which is why I was trying to talk earlier about reaching out to people who are already in the system. They would help you greatly, to get information. I know some people who I know that are looking for funding. Immediately, our listed email comes in every Monday. I just forward it to them because they're always GA positions because they already have admission basically in Virginia Tech. So again, get to know people who are in your program, whether Nigerians or non-Nigerians. Whether it's from India or anywhere or the US, many people are very nice. I think the atmosphere is conducive enough for you to be nice. So that's what we call assistantship, scholarship here. So after admission, there are on-campus job opportunities, different things you can do. Fellowship, research assistantships, internal funding, different ways. And then as an international student, depending on at any point, when you complete your degree, there, like I said, during your academic year, you have on-campus jobs and internships. You also have academic research opportunities. And after graduation, there's something we call OPT, which is optional practical training, which for those of us in the sciences, it's 3 years, and for those in non-STEM, is 1 year. And you also have post-graduation employment. So, for example, after your OPT or during your OPT, you can get a full-time job, and that sounds really perfect. You can go on and get your full-time job. And then long-term career goals, there's something we call H1B, and also, of course, permanent residency that is called the green card. Now, I would be on this quote. This is my second to the last slide. I'll be on this quote and talk about a cold email. So a cold email is simply an email that you send to a professor before first email you send to a professor you're interested in. And I won't talk more extensively again because I remember that in that link that was I hyperlinked for it's an SOP and code email workshop. It's a 2 hour long workshop where you'll be able to learn so much about how to write the SOP and the code email. And then finally, in 2021 or 2022, someone called me because the person knew one way or the other, knew that now I was serving, they knew that I knew a little bit about the grad school and travel abroad stuff, and then called me, and he called me to his office and he said, Emmanuel, if anyone wants to travel abroad, what's the first thing you want the person to have? And a friend of mine was there with me. And I guess I was already talking to her about it also. But my response to the man was, they need to have a drive. And it's not hard drive, it's internal drive. And I said that because if you are someone that get tired easily, don't bother to start. Because along the way, there will be setbacks, there will be highs, there will be lows. You will get admission, you will not get funding. You will get in fact, there are people in Nigeria now who have admission and funding and can't come because there's no visa. Oh, they gave them visa because They are doing administrative vetting and school has resumed. I'm saying all of this to say that if you get tired easily, I'm not saying you should drop off. Of course, you can have systems and people around to support you, but just so you know that it's going to be a tough process, right? It's not going to be easy. And people that are like, oh, I'm tired. And that's one thing I like to talk about my friend Esho. I think he sent close to over 200 code emails. So you can see that, and you sent 10. You say I'm depressed because they didn't respond to me. Why should they respond to you? So if you don't pass through those things and they respond once, then that's when you make the most use of it. If you can get structures, people around to support you, but if you don't, make use of sources to search for things. Go on LinkedIn. I can assure you. Let me check how many people are on this call. There are about 34 persons on this call, individuals. If all of you go on LinkedIn, you will find each person that would take you serious and share their number with you and say, I'm going to work with you till you get here. There are a lot of people here, right? So try your best to make use of these informations, and I look forward to welcoming you wherever you land. Thank you. Okay, yeah, and my quote says that the future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. So yeah, it's very interesting quote. I just found it and I felt like I should have this because I don't believe in the concept of future actually. I'm a very awkward person, but I don't think there's anything called future. I think future is what we it's not something that we predict. It's what we do today that makes tomorrow, right? So if you think there's a future, then you must believe in what you are dreaming about today, and every step you need to take to achieve it. You don't get tired. One failure is not enough, right? Even pen. The man that discovered the electric bulb, I'm sure the science majors will know. I mean, there are different numbers online. Some say 99, some say 999 times, whatever. But so many times it tried it, and at one point it worked, right? I'm not here for motivation. I would have given you a lot of it, but please don't get tired. And yes, thank you so much. And I'm happy to take questions.
All right, thank you so much, Mr. Emmanuel. I learned a whole lot. And we have few questions that people have asked on the group, but some of the prevalent questions what we'll be asking first of all. And the first question we have majorly that people asked is how I think I should ask, would you prefer I go with the 5 questions first, or we go ask a question, you answer, ask a question, you answer? I think to save time, I think it's better I go with the 5 questions. So in case the questions are
Okay,
that
if for
one.
time, if there's someone else that can, while you are calling it, someone else is typing it, because I want to see the questions. So I would have
Sure.
subscribed for us to go one after the other, but because of time,